Hello and welcome to another episode of An Echo of Glory. I'm laughing because I said to Gary, I don't know what we're talking about. And then he basically said that might be the reason why we're still down on listeners compared to other Spurs pods. But I think we'll talk about Spurs Burnley. We'll do that.
We'll give that a go.
Give that a go. The old band is back together.
The old band.
Me, this guy, Jake Robson. Hello.
You're only as old as you feel.
You're only as old as the woman you feel?
Oh, Jesus. A bit early for that, isn't it?
Past midday.
Past the watershed.
How are you?
In Australia. Good. Long time no see.
Yeah, man.
Nice tan you got.
Thanks. That's my Marbs tan.
Nice holiday, was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That you done on holidays for the year?
Nope. Got
For
another
the
one.
month?
Got another
For
one.
the week?
Nope. Another one coming.
Lovely.
Some people live, eh?
How the other half live.
Isn't it?
Gary, going away on Thursday. Diamond, how are you?
Stitch me right up. Yeah, good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello to those in the comments. Ray, who donated the last time I was on, I think 2 shows ago. I don't think Ray donated when you were hosting, Jake, so I don't know what that's
Thanks,
about.
Ray.
£10 donation. Thank you. We really appreciate all your donations.
But we need to say, Ray, in order to be in with a chance to win the Mickey van der Ven top, and as lovely as your donations are, and we do really appreciate them, it doesn't put you in the draw for this. You need to be a member.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that quickly before we crack on with everything else.
And how do you become a member, Johnny?
You have to go onto your...
Don't look at me. You look at me like I'm testing you.
Yeah, okay. I've remembered this. I revised this. You have to go onto your desktop or your laptop, not on your phone, not on your iPad, to click the subscribe plus button. I think it showed me when I tried to do it. To become a member. To win this signed Mickey van der Ven shirt with a Europa League medal and images of him from that night in Bilbao. We are going to give this away at some point, but you have to be a member. Since I've said this, we've had a couple of people sign up. Not enough. If you want to win this, which is worth a lot more than membership, do it. But Ray, thank you very much. A couple of other comments. Austin Sheen, could we? Yeah, we obviously could win absolutely everything.
Could we?
And I think we will.
Could we give away this shirt? Yes.
Yes, and we will at some point during the season.
The value of signing up to be an Echo of Glory.
And Robert, who is an Echo of Glory member,
there
says,
you go.
good
Robert
morning. Good morning, chaps. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So there it is. I'm going to
There's no good evenings anymore.
All the Aussies have gone.
They're gone.
I think there's 1 or 2 hanging around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a
Kicking
row.
about.
I had a row with one on Twitter.
Excellent. Just one.
It was just one. What did he say to me? Oh, I can't remember.
Did he say Ange in?
He said it was still better. The football was still better under Ange. Well, anyway,
He's
gone. He's gone. All right, a bit of club news.
Did you see the video of Ange doing the rounds on his holiday in Greece?
Yeah, being fed steak.
At a salt-based style.
Yes,
Yeah.
living his best life.
Steak restaurant.
And
Fantastic.
Good for him.
and good luck to
for
him.
him.
Good luck to him.
And absolutely good luck to him.
That looked a nice bit of steak, though, didn't it?
Lovely bit of steak.
Lovely bit of steak.
Yeah.
I find it weird eating steak off somebody's knife.
Oh, you've done it.
You've not done the
You've done it,
Brazil-
have you?
No, I've seen it.
You've not done the Brazilian stuff?
No, but they don't feed it to you.
They do.
They-
They feed
In
it.
Brazil?
This guy wasn't feeding Ange.
He was.
He
It on his
was.
knife.
Was
It
he? Oh,
literally
I-
No, in Brazil they just cut it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're lovely.
This
No,
guy
no,
was
that's
feeding
not-
Ange.
like salt-based
literally
style.
salt-based
Literally,
style,
like...
Well,
and
like
I've been at a restaurant where I've seen that happen.
Really?
It's not to me personally.
Like
but-
Shamu at Disney World when they chuck him food.
I just find it weird. I'm like, no, it's all right. I'll eat it myself. You don't need to feed me.
Yeah.
I learned to do that when I was about 6. Thanks.
You know when I said at the beginning, I don't know what we're going to talk about.
This
We're
is it.
very
This is what
we're
happens.
very much in that zone.
Yeah, well, it's Ange, isn't it?
This is what happens.
All right, bit of club news. First bit of club news. It's kind of hot off the press. New contract for Jed Spence. I think we're all happy with that.
Founding member of the Jed Spence fan club.
Yeah, how
over
do you
here.
feel?
It's obviously very good news.
Vindicated.
Very much. I feel vindicated.
Did they,
yeah.
as founding member of the Jed Spence fan club, did they let you know first?
You got the early press release.
Yeah.
Well, it had been rumoured a few weeks ago.
Right.
So
okay.
it was sort of somewhat known that this was going to break at some point. But yeah, no, it's good. He's a I think a really, really good player that can give us options. And it makes sense as well when you think about how Frank uses either fullbacks or wing-backs, and he's adept at both, having played both a lot in his career already. Left or right, English, which gives us that homegrown essence to the squad, and he seems to be really maturing. So it's an absolute no-brainer.
Someone does this predictions league thing that I'm in, which is not just results, it's who's going to be in the top 4, who's going to get relegated, who's going to be player of the year, young player of the year, and one of them is who's the dark horse or He gave a list of 30 names from the last England squad and said, pick someone not in here who you think. I try not to be too biased. Yeah, who go to the World Cup. Yeah. I try not to be too biased in these things. Or I did pick Spurs to win League Cup, FA Cup. But
that's just stupid.
Yeah, I think one out of the two I'll get the points. I picked Jed Spence for England.
That's a great shout.
Because we're not blessed with fullbacks. He's not the best attacking fullback, but as a defensive fullback who can play both sides.
You know what amazes me is in recent squads on the left they've picked Lewis Skelly, who even yesterday comes on for Arsenal within 2 minutes gets booked for stupid fouls. If you're telling me that Spence cannot get in the England squad ahead of Lewis Skelly, then I would question what's his face.
Well, we can question him anyway.
But whatever. Yeah, I think it's a great shout. And
I also think the fact that he plays both sides it gives him a massive
that. Yeah,
bonus.
100%. Both sides, and again, I've gone completely blank on his name, the England manager.
Thomas
Tuchel, but he plays wing backs. But with somebody like Spence as well, you have the possibility of right or left wing backs or full back. He gives such depth to the England squad. He should be on the plane in my view. Anyway.
Well, I think also, do you not think it does depend on how fit the doggy is or how much game time he gets?
No, I think we're going to have something like 50 to 60 games this season.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, it sounds as though they're probably not going to go and sign another left back. If anything, they'll sign a centre back. So Spence ought to get huge amounts of opportunity, huge amounts.
Yeah, and if this contract means he's knuckled down.
Yeah.
And good club signing.
Oh, brilliant.
Ciao.
Brilliant.
Very nice.
Very good, nice. Jake. Very good. That was good. All right, a couple of players have gone on loan who've done some bits, as the kids say. Mikey Moore. I really want to get Gary laughing while he's drinking his tea. Mikey Moore assists for Rangers. Apparently, I've not seen it. Just saw it announced on Twitter. And Will Lancashire scored for
a good goal.
Oxford. Lovely goal.
Lovely goal.
Yeah, really good volley. And he was giving it all the ears, like the Oxford fans have been moaning it. I don't know what's going on there. It's like, is he already getting grief? Yeah, so a bit of that. We've done the VD giveaway. Let's talk about transfers in. Someone just sent me, I'm not going to name him because it's embarrassing now, a bomber from David Ornstein that Eze had agreed a deal, 55 million medical later today. Then you click on it and he's been done by David Ornstein troll account. So that's not happening.
Probably should name and shame him then.
David Sims. Been on the show once before.
Thank you, Dave.
Came on post Bilbao, I think. Great episode. At half time, we're going to do Burnley in depth shortly, but at half time I was like, we need a 10. And obviously the links with Eze are growing and growing and growing. I think he'll get over the line. The rumours are that Palace just waiting to sign someone. Spurs get stuck in these long deals. Maybe every club does, but it just feels, maybe because we're in it, but it feels like Spurs do this more and more. But he would be an absolutely wonderful signing. He played well for Palace. Was the waving yesterday?
It has to be. And I also think when he scored the goal that was disallowed, he wasn't really celebrating properly. He was with his teammates, but he wasn't giving it.
But the way they mobbed him as well, was very like
he sort of had that look of someone that feels like he's been wronged a little bit.
It feels like someone who's going. Whether he's going to Spurs, I don't know. But we really need him, right?
Yeah, I think so. It may or may not happen, right? It looks like it will happen, but we need a player of that profile.
Yeah,
that's without a question. When you lose Maddison and Kulusevski,
if we hadn't have lost Maddison, would you still say
yes?
Is that to upgrade Maddison, or because you want two for every position?
I want two for every position, especially
in the Champions League.
Yeah, I suddenly realised, I was thinking about this yesterday, just to pluck a team out of the air, Man City. Think how many centre-backs they've got.
Yeah, I know. I don't even think Vardiol played at the weekend.
No, he didn't. Vardiol. So
Ake.
Diaz, Ake, Akanji.
Yeah.
Stones and Diaz played. I mean, it's mad. I mean, that's kind of, and that's what you've got to try and, people say, oh, we don't need this and we don't need that. I think this day and age, you take all the players you can get.
Yeah, I agree. I think we definitely need a 10 regardless, because there's still debates as to is Kulusevski a 10. So, you can kind of knock that on the head and say, Kulu, you either make a case as 10 or challenge Kudos at right wing. But then you've got Maddison and Eze or a similar profile in that 10. I also completely agree with the signing of a left winger. And it looks like we're a bit stacked in that area with, you got Tell, you got Odeber, you got Johnson who could play there, Kulusevski who could play there. but we haven't got anybody where you'd hang your hat on and say that's our left winger at this moment in time.
Eze can play on the left.
Eze can play on the left as well. So, regardless of the injury, Eze could have done that. But I think Savinho is, when you look at Kudus on the right and the impact that he's having already, just the ability to beat a player, beat your fullback consistently, it makes it so hard for teams to defend. And we'll get into the Burnley game a little bit soon, but there was a noticeable change between the first and the second half with something that happened on the left. And if you have a Savinho there, you can really see how I think we could start absolutely blowing the lesser teams away.
Signing Savinho, a player who City I think would sell, but don't necessarily want to sell, is a bit of a gear change for Spurs. Like, yes, we've signed West Ham. We didn't really want to sell Kudus, but he wanted to leave. But
but they also needed to sell.
They needed to sell, but they needed to sell.
Depending on who you listen to, which fan forums you listen to. Some of them were clapping him out the door.
I did listen to Karen Brady actually this morning. There was a clip on TikTok who did actually say with PSR, sometimes you just need to sell to buy.
Well, I think they had two problems. One was PSR, and the other was they had a loan to repay. They had a minimum loan to repay to a bank, and they were otherwise going to default on it, which is why the deal got pushed through quite quickly. You talk about deals taking a long time. My view on that is, if a club wants to get rid of a player, is that a player that you would want? Deals should take a long time. It should be difficult to get players that you want out of clubs, because clubs shouldn't want to be selling them. If they are wanting to sell them, you're going after the wrong players.
One day I'll tell you my Andrei Arshavin story, but I know that deal took 4.5 months.
And you look at Mbeumo, it took a very long time to United. Sesko took a long time. Corres took a long time to Arsenal. These deals do take a long time. If they're not taking a long time, it's one of two reasons. Either the club has their backs to the walls, as West Ham did, and they only have a number of assets with any value. Bowen is one, they're not going to sell him. The other one is Paqueta, who at the time hadn't yet been cleared, so that wasn't really an option.
He's got his eyes on an exit now.
But now, but that at that time, a couple of weeks ago, he hadn't been cleared, so he wasn't an option. So the only option they had was Kudus, and that's why that went through. If they hadn't had their backs to the wall, I suspect we'd have paid about 15 million more, and it would still be ongoing, because that's the way it should be.
But going back to my original point, signing Savinho from a big club. Proper, proper's the wrong word, but a big club would be a bit of a gear change from Spurs. Maddison was from Leicester, who I think just got relegated. Solanke from Bournemouth, good club, but it's Bournemouth. Getting a big player out of a big club would be a gear change for Spurs, I feel.
I agree, except the only thing that I can't get out of my head is why would they let him go after a year? What have they seen? What's the deal there? I know they've brought in players, but obviously you want to sign players from big clubs, but you don't necessarily just want to bring in any old.
I'll tell you when you can ask that question, because we've got Dave Mooney on. We're going to do a chat with Dave Mooney later, a little extra show that'll go out later in the week, and I've had a chat with him about Savinho on the messages yesterday. He's got some good points about Savinho, so you can ask him. I don't really know why, but this is a player that wants to get in the World Cup squad too, and he just wants to play.
I think he's going to have limited opportunities. Number one, he's statistically much better off the left than he is on the right, and you've got Doku there, and Doku's their number
Pep
one
loves
choice.
him,
and on the right, I think Pep really likes Bob, who went and got himself an assist yesterday. So it'd be very interesting to hear what is it, Dave? You said it's be very interesting to hear what he says. But this isn't a player that they want out the door. They'd like him to stay. But he has said that he wants first team football.
And Pep says, "I don't stand in people's way."
I won't stand in people's way. Absolutely. So, and that's probably correct, but they're going to make us pay for him as they are.
Yeah,
I think that will be done after next weekend, because I don't think they want him lining up against them.
Well, he's injured anyway, I think.
Allegedly.
Will says
Allegedly.
City have got a ton of wingers: Foden, Bob, Cherky, Marmoush, Doku. We have a ton of wingers. Marmoush, quality. Plays off the right. We've got a ton of wingers, not stacked in quality. Savinho, albeit only 21, has got a Premier League season behind him. Top quality.
I mentioned on our last pod, thanks for coming, Johnny, that I've looked at Man U's business this summer, and I thought, why couldn't we do something like that? But if when the transfer window shuts, we've suddenly got Savinho one side, Eze on the other side. Oh, sorry, Eze in the middle, Kudos on the other side.
Paulinho sitting behind them, sort of.
Then I'm thinking, well, we've done a really good transfer.
Jake, I look at Man United's business, signed 3 really good attacking players. They're
Yeah.
so lopsided. They haven't sorted out their midfield. The defence is still crap.
I meant
no
attacking.
goalkeeper.
Yeah. Well, they have a
Our
goalkeeper, he's
window
not
would be
very
more balanced.
good. Absolutely.
And people talk about deals happening late in the windows. I can tell you, clubs will be well aware from the end of last season and even before of the types of opportunities there might be. Now, we could we could well have gone 3 weeks ago and triggered the release clause of 25 million for El Kanous, right, as an example. And it could have been done much earlier in the window. And then you miss out on Eze later in the window. And when you see that sort of sliding doors and you miss out on Eze, and people say, well, why couldn't you get Eze early in the window? He had a release clause, yes, but he was hanging on, I feel, it seems, for Arsenal, who haven't followed that through because Unwan has signed the new contract, and that apparently has killed it. He doesn't have that option anymore, so we hung out for Eze. There's so many moving parts to these deals that sometimes it does take a bit longer, and I would rather hang out for Eze, knowing that you can go and get El Kanous at any point or whoever else it might be. But suddenly you've got the opportunity of Eze. Savinho, I'm sure we could have got another left winger. But actually, if they're sat there going, we feel as though there's a damn good chance that as this goes on, we could get Savinho for the sake of the couple of games. And I get that it's frustrating, but Savinho's going to be here for 5-6 years. Eze, 5 years. For the sake of a couple of games, you'd rather hang out and wait to take the opportunities of those top quality players.
Yeah, as Ying mentioned here, we've also signed Takai. For me, I'm not sure we're going to see him this year. I think we still probably need another centre-half. There's talk of Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen, another difficult deal, and someone was moaning, why are we doing difficult deals? Well,
because if they're not difficult, they're not good players.
Well, this is a gear change from Spurs. This is a gear change from Spurs. Go and buy big players that you have to fight to get.
Yeah.
Also, difficult deal can mean different things for different players.
Yeah.
It might mean different agents or different amounts of money.
It's also Hincapié. Chelsea have lost for the season Colwell.
Yeah.
Right. Makes it harder because straight away Hincapié becomes a target for Chelsea. So it is a difficult deal on many different fronts. But yeah.
Okay, before we get to the Burnley game, you wanted to talk about this, Jake. I'm going to throw it over to you. The protests before the game. Throwing you under the bus there.
What about it? What do you want to know?
You raised it.
An eyewitness account? I just thought it was worth...
Eyewitness account.
I can't give you one. I thought it was worth being mentioned. Did it...
Divided opinion on social media.
Well, it would, because they always do. But apparently it was quite well attended. Is that correct? You don't know either?
No, I'm not... There was a few protests last season. I would never go on one. It's just not for me. But I was like, yeah, okay, do your thing. This one was a bit like, I don't know. Can we wait till the window shuts? Maybe.
I agree. Your first game of the season. I mean, can we not?
Can
we not have a day off?
That's on transfer. I don't know what they're protesting about. Still, the concessions and all that stuff, I still agree with. But I felt the timing was a little bit off, and I'm sure...
I think it's pony, and I think it's really small time.
I'm sure I'll get called a leaving mouthpiece.
No, I'll get called one, and I don't care. But I think it's really small time to be going to protest on the first day of the season when you've got a new manager, you've made a couple of very good signings that we're all happy with. We're at home to Burnley, so we hope we're going to see a win. We've just won the Europa League. We've got rid of the manager that nobody wanted. I mean, it's a...
Well,
okay.
no, that's not true. A lot of people did want him.
Well, okay, but you know what I mean. It's a new start, a new era, a new dawn, and we've got people protesting, complaining. I mean, when are you ever going to be happy?
Some of them won't be happy until Levy's gone, and that I understand. But I've just felt timing was a bit odd.
That's what I mean.
Gary's keeping quiet. Clever.
I don't think there's really too much saying it. People can do what the hell they like. It's up to them. I just, in fairness to them, they are saying that they're consistent in their message and that they don't think enough is being done. Fair enough. That's up to them.
Good question from Will here. What do you guys think about tickets only being transferable to paying members? Interesting one is that I took my son on Saturday because the guy I sit with is away, and as of last season, he could have just transferred it to me and I could have taken him. That didn't happen. He's actually a paid member, which I'd forgotten about. I'd forgotten he's still a member. It was easy in the end. He just transferred it to my son's membership. I was a bit annoyed by the whole thing, and then I thought about it, and I was like, Yeah, I think you should have to pay something to get. My son was going to plenty of games last year, but not paying. Yeah, I actually don't disagree with that situation where you have to be a paid member to get a ticket.
But do we assume that everybody gives away their tickets like that for free?
If you're giving it to a friend previously to this season, yeah, you would. Yeah, have my ticket mostly.
Yeah, maybe some people want money. Is that allowed? Is that a thing?
Yeah, also a good point. Yeah, so
I
they've got
don't
to pay
know.
for a membership and then pay for the ticket.
Perhaps. I remember when we got the email saying this was going to be brought in. I remember raising it in this very chair, saying, "What at the club? It's just you're not exactly giving anything back to the fans, there, are you?" Personally.
Apparently, as Joe says, it's to stop away fans getting into the
But
ground.
the 50 quid, they'll pay 50 quid if they want to. You just pay 50 quid. You just get one, don't you? It's for the season.
Yeah, okay, fine. But I think the club will take the view that if that's what an away fan wants to do and somebody wants to give their ticket to it, then the club just makes £50 more. So,
They can't stop it. That's all they can do here.
Yeah, it's all they can do. I mean, I think there was an issue in one of the games last season when people complained that there were a number of away fans in the Spurs section. I can't remember which game it was, and I might be wrong on this, but I seem to recall that. And the club probably taken a look at it and said, well, what can we do to stop this? Well, number one, if you as a season ticket holder are found to be giving your ticket to somebody who isn't a member and happens to not be a Spurs fan, then if that gets caught, you could lose your ticket. That's completely correct.
Yeah.
The reality is, how many people actually get kicked out, and how often does that actually happen? Not very often. So the club is saying, look, if at least if you're paying as a member, then we can hold our hands up and say, look, whoever it is that took the ticket, signed up as a member, we've got to take that at face value.
Yeah. Talking of members, Adam Flanagan's a member, which means he can win this. Now we've got more people in. Become a member and you can win this, which you're going to give away at some point in the season. A Mickey van der Ven signed shirt, Europa League shirt, with a medal, a replica medal, I have to say. Images from the night, the clearance and whatever. There's another image on there. Get involved.
I like Adam's comment, though.
I was going to say, go on, you can read it.
I think we should protest that the club have replaced Moretti with Madri. It's like getting rid of Berbatov and bringing in Fraser Campbell. Gary Diamond.
This is an interesting one because I prefer the Moretti to the Madri. However, post game had a couple of Madris. It wasn't that terrible. I was more upset for my daughter who has she really loves the waffle fries that they do.
Don't tell me they're gone.
No, you can get them with certain dishes. I don't know what you like.
Toppings.
You can get certain meals. You can get them with certain meals. But where we were, they did the burger now with straight fries, which was actually not about the straight fries, and they wouldn't do them with waffle fries. So she was very upset. So that's another change.
Game's gone.
Paul
Bates isn't happy with the lack of sausage rolls in the South Stand. Says they only had vegan ones left.
Did you try one, Paul?
Paul Bates is not trying a vegan sausage. Okay.
I took my daughter down to the South Stand after the game to meet some friends and had a beer. She didn't. She's too young. But she saw all the waffle fries being advertised, so went to get a portion of waffle fries. £10. I said, I'm not paying £10 for a portion of waffle fries. You can't get the waffle fries without the chicken strips or whatever it came with. Didn't want the chicken strips, just wanted the waffle fries. Anyway.
When Adam said we replaced Moretti with Madri, I was genuinely like, is that some sort of scout?
I thought that was at boardroom level.
Yeah, I genuinely thought. We was like, is this a Paratici thing? Who's Madri?
I have to say, personally, is there much difference between a Moretti and a Madri? Not sure there is.
No, there is.
Really?
Yes.
One's Italian, one's Spanish, I reckon.
And Madri's a lot worse than Moretti?
It depends what you like. I prefer Madri. I think it's got...
Oh, you prefer Madri?
Sorry, not Madri. Moretti.
Can Moretti play at left back, number 10?
I prefer Moretti. It's got a sort of a bit of a fuller taste. Madri's much sweeter, I think.
Just drink neck oil. You'll be fine. It's straight out the barrel.
I love neck oil. I really do.
Should we get on to some football?
Football? That's a bloody football podcast. Okay. Tottenham Hotspur lined up, according to Opta, in a 4-3-3 formation.
Hang on, Jorge says after the first one, they're all the same. Are we still talking about beer? Still talking about beer.
Tottenham Hotspur lined up with some changes from the draw with PSG in the Super Cup. Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven and Spence. In front of them, Sarr, Gray and Bergvall. In front of them, Kudus, Richarlison and Johnson. That was already a tactical shift from 3 days earlier, where we played 3/5 at the back. Tactics, would you look at that? Adaptability, would you look at that?
Well, you heard it on this podcast that would happen. Both Ali and Jake Sanders said they promised me we'd be playing 4 at the back, 4-3-3.
And they didn't let you down.
They didn't let me down.
Wonderful that we made some changes. I actually looked at the team and it was like, oh my God, he's gone very young in that midfield. What, Sar's 22, Gray's 19, Bergvall 19.
Sar's a lot of experience though now. He's played a lot of games.
Yeah. And I do wonder if we'd played, with respect to Burnley, anyone other than Burnley, Sunderland or Leeds this weekend. Ali Tweedale's on. He'll never let you down, Jake.
There you go. Hello, Ali.
If we'd played one of the, better clubs, would we have gone with that midfield 3 days after PSG with City on the horizon? Do you think it was just really nice timing for that?
I do, 100%.
Yeah.
I looked at that and thought, we're playing Burnley. He wants to give Gray a chance, give him a go, see what he can do in the 6. Something, I think he started one game in the 6 all of last season. Was it away at Fulham or I can't remember.
Did he even? I don't
Did he even?
remember.
Yeah, maybe not. Or maybe he came on in the 6. Can't remember. But I think he obviously felt that it was a calculated risk that he could take.
Yeah.
Playing that midfield 3, you know what you're going to get from Bergvall. Sar's in the 10 again, and as he done so well against PSG. Let's see what Gray can do in the 6. And obviously, as you said, I think it's Burnley. Any other side, probably not. And it worked. And listen, he got away with it.
Yeah, Frazzle says it feels like a 4-1-4-1. I actually looked at the average positions here. If you take the average position from the starting 11, it's actually like a 2-5-3. I mean, Romero and Van der Ven were deepish and the wingers were up, the wing backs were up, but it didn't feel like a 4-3-3. But anyway, rotation, Gray in his best position, great.
Yeah, I liked both lineups against both PSG and Burnley. And
did you with Johnson on the left?
Johnson was the question. We'll come on to that. But I what I did really like was straight away Frank showing us the tactical adaptability both of himself and the team. It's something that I never really understood before when I've floated the idea of switching between a 4 and a 3, and people said, "Oh, you can't just do that. It needs coaching." I'm like, "Does it really?"
Well, it does. But he's a coach,
of course, right? But you've got Romero who made his name at Atalanta in the back 3. You've got Porro, Udogie, and Spence who made their names as wing backs. I just don't think that at this level it requires huge amounts of coaching, but Frank is obviously able to do it. And the fact that they went out against PSG and put in that performance with a 3 at the back, I thought was really telling. And I'm convinced that we'll see 3 at the back next weekend against City. Absolutely convinced that that's what we will see.
Yeah.
I love the tactical flexibility of both lineups. I also really liked that he did play Bergvall and Gray, because I was advocating for that in the build-up to the game. And people say, no, he's going to play Paulinho and he's going to play Bentancur. Those are his first 2. But the reality is, you have a 55, 60-game season, hopefully.
Yeah.
You're going to need these kids. Would he have played all 3 of them if it had been somebody else? Look, if it had been Arsenal, Chelsea, whatever, of course he would have played Paulinho in that. But I do think against sort of, Everton's or Newcastle's, he might have played a Gray and a Paulinho or a Bentancur and a Bergvall.
You would have
right?
needed one, yeah.
So I don't think it would have been necessarily the same, but I thought it was absolutely the right thing to do to play those 3, particularly Sarr, who deserves at this moment his place in the team.
Yeah.
And playing Gray in the right position. And Gray was outstanding, by the way, against Newcastle. I've not been on since then, but that was
the pre-season game.
The first half, he was absolutely phenomenal, and that was the Gray that I saw last January against the January before at Stamford Bridge for Leeds. And from then on I had my eye on that kid. My God, that kid's gone to Stamford Bridge and bossed them in the 6.
Yeah.
That is somebody we need to
you
really
said that before, yeah.
And that's that was the Gray that I saw then, and he had a very tidy game on the weekend. So,
but just playing him in his right position, Gaz, he'd have spent all last season being probably proud of himself that he's playing for Spurs and he's made this big move, but ultimately probably frustrated that he's being shunted around, and in the back of his head, and he'd probably never say it, he's not going to walk in to Andy's office and go, "Can you start playing me in midfield, please?"
No, but this is the point, right, is that Frank is always going to try and put round pegs into round holes.
Well, he also wanted it as a midfielder at Brentford.
Yeah. I think, the only question, I say that and people say, well, what about Johnson on the left? Is that not a square peg in a round hole? I think Johnson anywhere is a bit of a square peg in a round hole, to be honest with you. But I think for the most part, and you take a look at Richarlison's form at the minute.
I want to come to him. I want to give him his own little piece.
But again, this comes to building the team in a way that brings the best out of the players, and there is proper coaching going on that I just didn't see last season, really.
Any thoughts on the lineup? You done?
I said my piece. I like to see Gray play there, and I thought I do think the more we're talking about it, I think almost any other side in the league, and I don't think he's doing it. I think it was a really nice opportunity in the opening game of the season to, as Gary says, almost rotate from the squad from the start, knowing it's going to be a long season ahead.
So that PSG,
he had that luxury because he knows Burnley weren't going to come onto us.
And he had that luxury because we had PSG.
Absolutely.
If we'd had PSG, I imagine Paulinho and Bentancur would have started against Burnley.
Yeah.
Right, we started pretty sharpish, nearly scored after 30 seconds, ruining my prediction of Bergvall scoring our first goal of the season. And then we scored a lovely goal. Kudus, Poro hit a ball down the line, which I actually thought was inch perfect from where I was sitting, but it wasn't. Kudus got the ball back. Saw someone describe Kudus as Tasmanian devil. The guy doesn't stop. He's always in your face. Strong as anything. He's going to be an absolute favourite. Gets the ball.
But West Ham walked him out the door.
Yeah, he was rubbish. Every West Ham fan will tell you that he's rubbish. Crosses the ball in, and interesting what he said after the game was that they knew that Burnley were playing a three at the back at that point, and that three at the back means that they sit.
They're going to drop in
low into the box.
Pull it back a bit.
And both Richarlison and Johnson pulled out, and he waited, and that's a brilliant finish. Really difficult finish into the far corner.
I think a couple of things on that. One is, I didn't hear that comment, but if he said that again, that is Frank looking at
100%
at the opposition and how they're going to play it and saying, I don't want it going low and hard across the 6-yard box in this game. I want it coming back towards the penalty
Burnley
spot.
want you to go in.
They want it going across 6. They want to head it away all day long, right?
Yeah.
Want it coming back, and they so that's brilliant coaching. And we say Frank, but we have to. This is where Frank, I think, also excels. It's the team around, the coaching team around him, the analysis that he has around him. Yeah. So that's one thing. On Kudus being marched out the door at West Ham, number one, that's a narrative. I think if they could have kept him, they absolutely would have kept him. But number two, the reality is that he was playing on the left last season. And he's a right winger. And when he played on the right the season before when Bowen was injured, he was phenomenal and they loved him. Bowen is a right winger. He's not going to get in ahead of Bowen. I think they're both exceptional footballers, to be honest with you. But what Kudus does give us that you don't have is, we didn't have previously, beat your fullback, deliver the cross, right?
And it's not even, you saw it with the second goal and the first, it's not even beat the fullback, running at them at pace from a distance, one little
touch, bang, gone, deliver, right? That's all it takes. We didn't see nearly enough of it last season.
I'm stunned that...
And it seems to me like he's two-footed. That the second goal was with his right foot, but there were a number of times he cut back and he's whipped it in on his left foot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm stunned
this
that...
is a serious signing.
Ten Hag went from Ajax to Man United and took Anthony with him and not Kudus.
Yeah,
and when West Ham signed him, I said this before, he's one of those players I looked at and went, where were we? Where were we when this guy was...
But we've got him now. And it was exactly the right profile player. And on the Richarlison finish, not enough will actually be made of that finish because of the second goal.
Yeah.
If Richarlison doesn't score that second goal, we'd all be sat here talking about that first goal and what a wonderful finish, because it was a wonderful finish. It really was a beautiful finish. And fair play to Rich. I thought he was outstanding against PSG. I thought he played very well against Burnley. And he's one of these where... I think on this pod even, we've put him as one of those that could be sold, with the caveat that if you could just say that Richarlison would be fit for 90% of games, because everybody gets knocks in that, right? But if he
75% would be an upgrade.
If he was fit for 75-80% of games, fit, mentally in a good place, you would have him every day in your squad. And if this is the Richarlison that we can expect for the remainder of the season, if he can keep this vein of form and this fitness, along with Solanke, he is going to be a huge player for us.
I was going to come to him after his second goal, but let's talk about him now.
Well, on the Match of the Day commentary, Jonathan Pearce said you never quite know about his future after he scored that second goal. I think that's it now.
He's not going anywhere. No, he's not.
I don't think he wants to. I don't think he's made any noise to be.
No, I don't
sold.
think it was up to him though.
It's interesting you say that, Gaz. One of the things you hear about Richarlison maybe is he's had a few mental health issues. He's doing a lot more TikToks. You see him now with I think he's had a baby with his girlfriend. He's doing his TikToks in his garden. He seems in a happier place. Lives in Totteridge, lovely place. But he seems in a happy place. But not only that, I'm not going to... I am going to. I'm going to slight Ange for this lack of coaching. I believe that. I genuinely believe there was a lack of one-to-one coaching. It was my way or the highway. And against PSG, and against Burnley, what have we seen? Balls into Richarlison, hold it up. Not just players getting off him, he's taking the ball himself, running out right with it, running out left with it, being strong. They must have spent hours and hours and hours all summer. This is how we're going to play with you, Richie. Banging balls into him, hold it up, which unfortunately has never been his strong point. That brilliant goal he scored for Brazil at the World Cup came off an awful first touch, and he turned it into an overhead kick. Clearly working on him. And he seems in a better place mentally. Frank clearly has worked on him, identified that your first touch ain't great, mate. We need to work on this. And not only that, they said it on Match of the Day, Richarlison is one of the best fox in the boxes, really. There aren't many in the Premier League like that. He is a real fox in the box. And if we can get balls into the box regularly and he's fit, well, I fear for Solanke. It's great to have. It's a great problem to have. They're not top, but to have two good number 9s, not many out there.
Interesting you say that, because I'm going to give my line-up for City later.
And Solanke's in it.
Don't go away.
Don't go to bed.
I mean, look, in short, I'd play the 3 at the back. I'd play the 2 wing-backs, Palhinha, Bentancur, and I'd play Kudos in a floating behind Richarlison and Solanke. That would be my team for City.
Wow. We'll come to it, Gaz. We will come to it. And you also said, Gaz, about something happened at half-time. Look, after we scored, it all felt very... I've seen this before, retreat into our shells. Burnley didn't really look like scoring, but they had the next 9 attempts before Spence blazed one over the bar just before half-time. Something changed at half-time. I'm a statistician, not a tactician. I don't really know what it was.
A stato, not a tactico.
Yeah. Adam Nathan said he thinks Burnley maybe went to a back 4. I'm not sure about that. I looked at our avenues of play. We definitely played down the left a lot more in the second half than we did in the first half. Johnson got involved in places that Johnson might hurt you. He ain't hurting you on the touchline. But he just tucked inside a little bit more, hit a couple of decent passes as well, and then got his goal. But second half was... Yeah, they had that chance just before we went 2-0 up, but really, we were pretty comfortable.
I think 3-0 was a great result, and everybody's very happy. If we're going to be critical, and I think you've got to pick out the negative as well as the positive. The negative was that after the first 10 minutes, I thought we were great, and there was only one team that was going to go ahead in that first 10 minutes. But it seemed after that Burnley sort of took the view that we're going to try and force this game a little more, and perhaps we weren't quite ready for that. And they did take the initiative. And I'll be honest, I thought the team that looks most likely is Burnley, and we were sort of struggling to get to grips with that. They didn't create big chances. I can't really remember it. The biggest chances, you say, came just before we went 2-0 up. But there were 1 or 2 problems in that first half that shouldn't be ignored. But, this is his first competitive game as Spurs manager. There's a long road ahead for him. This is the very beginnings of that journey. So you can expect that. My criticism at half-time beyond that really was that Johnson was having a Johnson, which is he present but not involved. Like he was absolutely nowhere. And you could see that everything we were doing, we were looking to Kudos all the time, and Burnley were catching wind of that. They were very much onto that, and they were getting around Kudos very, very quickly because they didn't have to worry about Johnson, because the only time I saw Johnson in the first half was a break on about 43 minutes when it looked like the ball could have got played through, and suddenly I see him running through the middle, hand up, me, give it to me. There he is, looking for the goal, right? Fine, great, get it. He's brilliant at that. But in the second half, it was very clear, straight from kick-off, they almost went straight out to Johnson straight away, almost as a message to Burnley that actually we're going to get this guy more involved in the game. He was told to come a bit shorter, I think, look for the ball.
Yeah.
And what that allowed was for Burnley to not close the pitch in so much down the right. I think, and I asked you about this, because again, I'm not a tactic, I'm only at the game watching it, but it seemed to me that Johnson, I don't know if you can pull this stat up, it wasn't one that we actually discussed. I suspect that Johnson had 2 or 3 times as many touches in that second half as he did in the whole of the first half, right? I don't know if you can look that up. But what we did look at was...
I thought you just know.
What we did look at was the avenues of play. And in the first half, all of our attacking was down the right. And in the second half, it was much more split down the left and the right. And just by making the pitch that much bigger and getting Johnson that much more involved meant it was that much harder for Burnley to defend against us. That was what I saw. I don't think there was any tactical amendment. It was just, guys, get Johnson involved, get it out to him, and Brennan come short, look for that ball, get involved. Don't just be looking to go in behind. And he did.
It looks like this is a bit of a manual job. It looks like 11 in the first half and maybe 21 in the second.
There you go. So I said, I said at least twice as many, and it basically was twice as many in the second half. And that to me was a very clear difference. I don't think it was a tactical switch. I think it was Frank literally saying we need to get Johnson involved, because just by him even coming short forces Burnley to leave Kudus a little bit, and indeed that's where the goal comes from. It's a one-on-one, Kudus squared up, ping across.
I want you to answer this. Tottenham Hotspur, I've not seen him in the comments before. Apologies if you have, maybe a new listener. Says, pardon?
Or viewer.
Or viewer.
He's probably watching.
Become a member. Can win this. I don't know why people have a downer on Brennan. He's really good at what he does.
I'll tell you why I have a downer.
Yeah, I want you to answer that.
It is as simple as this. I think Brennan Johnson has every attribute to be a top player. And it frustrates me that he doesn't take more responsibility. He came to the club with Ange saying he wants to make the move up because he wants to go and be a big player at a big club. And he gets the goals. There is no doubt. The finish that his finish, by the way, was absolutely outstanding. Great run. And there was never any doubt in my mind when Sarr put him in. There was never a doubt in my mind that was a goal. From the minute he got it, that's a goal. You know, even as much as I love Kudus on the other side, if that goes to Kudus, I'm like, I don't know that that's going to be a goal. But I think Johnson has more capacity about him to do a tremendous amount more than he does. I mentioned that I watched him for Wales over the summer, and he was everything to them. It was all going out to him, and he was taking responsibility and driving the team forwards, and he looked a completely different player to what he has done for us. And I said to you after, if I'd never seen that guy, I'd be saying, we've got to sign him. And that's why I've got a downer on him, because he's got everything. And I'm just hoping that Frank can bring that out, because there's a top player in there that, to me, sometimes just hides behind wanting to get in and do what he does very well, rather than being really involved in the game and helping the shape of the team as a whole.
I'm convinced that Frank will bring it out of him, and the only reason is because if he doesn't do what Frank wants him to do, he won't play. And that's the thing with Frank. He's so what's the word? I would say, tactical and system-driven, in a good way, though, that if you aren't doing the job that you're meant to do, you ain't going to play. And I would imagine that just scoring a goal wouldn't necessarily be enough, although it's great.
When you talk about him going through one-on-one, at that point I was trying to explain goal difference to my son, bless him, who still couldn't... He knew that we were 2-0 up. He wanted me to show him the league table. I was like, we're on Saturday in the first game of the season, but he sensed that we would, because he knew Liverpool had won 4-2, and he couldn't. I was trying to explain to him why Liverpool were top on goals scored, and bless him, he was trying to get his head around it. And at that moment, Johnson went through, and I went, well, we're about to be top. And I just had a feeling he would score.
What a pass, though.
Just to cap this off for Tottenham Hotspur, if you get a player like Stefan Freund, right? I could never hate Freund. Why? I didn't think he was good enough to play for us, but there was no doubt that he did everything that he could on the football pitch. Ndombele has all the ability in the world, and I hated him. Hated him. Because he didn't maximise what he had. And I don't hate Johnson at all. I want to love Johnson. I give him a hard time because he could be exceptional in my view, but he's not using what I believe he has to the maximum. He's a great goal scorer, but I think he could be so much more than that.
Yeah. Adam Flanagan, I think I said the same. He reminds me of Jenas, capable of so much more, but doesn't often show it. But he's got 19 goals in the last 2 seasons, or whatever it is. I don't know.
Jenas is another one. He's absolutely right. He's another one I gave a hard time to, much more so than a Freund, because you look at Freund, you're like, he is what he is.
Yeah, Freund maxed out.
He is what he is. You ain't going to get any more out of him. Jenas always could have given more. He always had that ability, and I agree with Adam Flanagan entirely on that.
Other positives. Someone's mentioned it in here. Sorry if I've missed who it was. Sarr. Brilliant in pre-season.
The pass for Johnson's goal.
Like, that's not... He hit a great cross at Villa, I think, 2 years ago when we won 4-0, whatever it was.
Brilliant cross that was.
He does get a few assists, but that was...
And he put in the cross in the Europa League final.
Someone on Twitter last night said, people forget that Sarr low-key set up Johnson for the goal in Bilbao. No, it's not low-key.
It wasn't low-key.
Low-key, he literally crossed the goal.
I guess it's low-key because Johnson wasn't credited with the goal.
Well, he was.
He was in the end, but it came off.
Anyway, he's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The pass was just spot on, perfect.
I tell you what, the fact that when I saw the lineup, on Wednesday, I was like, Sarr in the 10, why isn't Bergwall playing? But having played how he played on Wednesday, and again, it was against Burnley, I was like, yeah, he's earned the right.
It's a bit of a free roll, isn't it?
I don't know if he's in the 10. I think as time goes on, he will become much more of a 6 or an 8, and I actually think Sarr's best position will be, if you had Sarr alongside a Palhinha, that's looking pretty tough to get
with an Eze in front of
with
them.
an Eze in front of
I see
them.
that.
Like,
I see that.
You know, and I said last season, you know, I think Sarr's being done a bit of a disservice, and as much as he's doing brilliantly, I don't know that he was 10 the other day. I do think it was more of a 4. I agree with the comment earlier. It was more of Gray and then Sarr and Bergwall in front of them in that sort of 8-10 type role, whatever you want to call it. But the guy's stepping up in a way that I don't. I mean, myself, I don't think I saw this in him.
He's looking at his touch map here. It looks like the pitcher's got measles. I mean, he was everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is
only
everywhere.
22, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's got a tremendous engine. I just think in that sort of double pivot deeper role with Bentancur or Palhinha, I think you're going to see a hell of a player emerge.
I know it was only Burnley, and I know why the older players, why they were changes, the more experienced players were on the bench. But wasn't it lovely to see Palhinha and Bentancur come on to close out a game?
Yeah.
Instead of they're knackered, they got to come off, and now we're chucking on Bergwall and Gray.
Well, but the problem is, against City, that's what you're probably going to be left with.
Of course, but we
but you know that if Palhinha is on a booking and you know in the 70th minute, when he's on a booking in the 70th minute, 75th minute, and you've got the option of Sarr or Bergwall or Gray to come in, and we haven't even mentioned Basuma at this point because I think probably he will go.
Bissouma.
Nice. Okay, it might not be quite the quality of a Palhinha, but at the same time, it's a much deeper quality in the squad than we've had previously.
Definitely.
Two things I want to mention. The minute silence for Diogo Jota
Was it
impeccable. Because there was a minute silence, I think, about Bodo Glimt against Bodo, and I can't remember what for. That wasn't very well observed, and I think the ref cut it short. But also the reception for Tell. Bloke misses a penalty, obviously gets horrendous abuse on social media. Whatever you might think of him as a footballer, irrelevant. The abuse he got and the reception he got, and I'm glad that Frank brought him on.
I think
to get that.
The sad thing was about this that he looked bereft of confidence, and people will dig him out and say he's not good enough. But he looked nervous to me coming on, and he gave the ball away a couple of times. And I know that people want to go, oh, that's just more evidence it is not good enough. I mean, You're talking about a 19-year-old kid here who's gone through a really tough couple of days. What happened after the Super Cup final was disgusting on every level. Yeah. Disgusting. These can't be proper fans. So I was delighted with the reception that he got when he came on. I think people just need to keep in mind as well, you know, we spent a long time here talking about Sarr and how he is emerging. Sarr's now 22. But he had a couple of loans when he came to us. Then he was in and out of the team. Then it was, is he good enough? And now, all of a sudden, you know, we're starting to talk about Sarr as...
I thought he would... It's game 1 was game 2 we just had. I think he's going to have the season I thought he would have had last season.
Who?
Sarr. And again, I'm going to put that down to the coach because I think this coach will get the best out of him. Carl Hussey says, in my opinion, there will be fewer injuries, hopefully, but the new management team appears to see each game as horses for courses.
I take confidence that this management team is the right management team for a young kid like Tell.
Correct. Well, Tell...
Any young kid, yeah.
Sorry, you're talking about Tell. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Sarr.
No, Tell. I'm saying,
Sorry.
I was talking about Sarr in the sense of people are digging out Tell, who's 19. Sarr is 22. But look at the journey Sarr has had to go on to get to the point that we are here.
Correct.
With all the doubters that he had previously.
Let's think about this. He came on loan in January into a team that was
struggling
all over the shop in terms of selection, in and out of Europa League and then the Premier
selection,
League.
tactics,
systems. And then you've got that midway through the season. Was he 18 or 19 when he came? 19 when he came.
Yeah.
New country, you know, new league, new everything, new house, like everything. Then there's the uncertainty over whether he's going to stay or not. He stays. We sign him. New manager comes in, a whole new way of playing. He's still adapting to life in England, new team,
Absolutely.
and he's only 19. Anyone that says, this is why I didn't like people saying, well, I don't think we should sign him. I think we should sign him. Ultimately, no one's seen enough of him to really make a decision either way. And if the club had the only person that see at the club every day when he comes in, his attitude, how he trains.
He's definitely
quality.
lacking. He's definitely lacking confidence, potentially off the back of what happened on Wednesday night. But there was a moment on Saturday when he got the ball with 3-0 up. He got the ball facing our own goal, but there was acres of space behind him. Anyone with a bit of confidence, he'd have got a shout.
Normally he would
turn and go.
Normally he would.
For everything he did on Saturday,
it looked like he was in his head far too much.
Yeah, because he's worried if he makes a mistake, he's going to get more abuse.
Correct, and so the team really needs to get around him. I liked his attitude last season. I like that he came in and wanted to take on responsibility. I like that he stepped up for the penalty and wanted to take responsibility. He could have shirked that easily. He didn't. He missed. Okay, fine, it happens. Do you know, I was looking at statistics on penalties, and 80 to 85% of penalties in game are scored. It drops to about 70% in penalty shootouts, right? Like, it's pressure, and he stood up to take the penalty. Credit to him. Thankfully, you know, it's annoying because it would have been so great to have won the Super Cup.
Yeah.
What a lovely opportunity. But it's not actually the end of the world. No. Nobody expected us to win the game.
It's a bonus competition.
We're only angry because, you know, having gone from expecting to be beat 3 or 4-0, actually 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go, I'd look more at the defending and how they managed to get back into the game before I'd look at Tell.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
that's the bigger issue. But I hope they get around him because I think there's a real player there.
Some stats from the game, if you would like. One I thoroughly enjoyed. One more clean sheet needed to match our Premier League record at home last season. One in the opening.
So we kept 2 clean sheets at home in the league last season.
Everton on our first home game of the season, and then Man United. Lads, it's Man United.
Yeah.
This was Tottenham Hotspur's joint biggest matchday 1 victory in the Premier League, alongside the 4-1 win against Southampton in 22-23.
They went 1-0 up, Southampton.
They did go 1-0 up.
Sessegnon scored, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He scored the equaliser.
Who?
Ryan Sessegnon.
Yes, he did.
Header.
Don't really care for this one much, but I'm going to read it. Anyway, Tottenham have faced Burnley more often than they have any other side on home soil in the Premier League without ever losing. 9 wins, 1 draw. I don't actually remember the draw.
No.
Was that at Wembley?
I've got a feeling it was in the Pochettino era. Was it Burnley once where we beat them in the last minute with an Ericsson goal at Wembley?
Yeah. I think we drew against them at Wembley. Did Chris Wood score for them?
Quite possibly.
Yeah. What here? Mohamed Kudus became just the second player to provide 2 or more assists on their Premier League debut for Tottenham after James Maddison against Brentford in August 2023. I like this one. Burnley's Martin Dubravka became the first goalkeeper to fall foul of the new 8-second rule in the Premier League.
Do you know something? I wasn't aware of that.
Me neither.
I was not aware of that rule. I just want to
that.
comment on this, right?
Yeah.
So when he gives the corner, I'm in my head gone, what the hell is happening?
I think most of the stadium
This
did.
is the first time that I've seen a home ref for us, but he's gone a bit far here, hasn't he?
And was it Michael Oliver?
Was it Oliver?
Giving us a decision.
I had somebody next to me had to say, "Oh yeah, this is the new rule. This is what happened." I was like, I always love it though when there's a new rule and refs are so keen on the first weekend to like give it. Guaranteed by Christmas, keepers will be holding it for 15 seconds and nothing's going to happen.
So that's it.
I've got one thing to add.
You can
the
add.
second goal, friend of the show, Gary Taphouse on the World Feed comms with Richarlison's goal, gives it the old sensational. Fantastic.
We haven't actually talked enough about that goal.
No.
Let's do it.
The flick from Kudus.
A left-footed flick, and you hear the crowd go, "Oh!" straight away.
That's the kind of thing like
that
the really
fans
good
want to
player
see.
used to do in 5-a-side back in the day, didn't it? You know,
I did used to do
Yeah,
that,
there
yeah.
you go. No, you were a goal hanger.
Oh yeah.
No, I think there's a few things about this goal. Is as Frank pointed out, I actually really like this in the interview with Frank. He pointed out after, you know, it's goal of the season not just because of the finish, but actually because it's a team goal.
Spurs done a great video with all the players
Yeah.
in dark, and then they get highlighted as they touch the ball.
And the interviewer, I can't remember, Milesy, I think it was, said to him, "How do
He
you
looks much more comfortable with Frank than he does with
But
us.
he said to him, "How do you know this already? Like you've literally the game finished 15 minutes ago. How have you already worked out? Because nobody else knew that at that point that every player had touched it. Frank highlighted it. Frank's like, well, that's what my team does. That's what my team around me does. And they told me that within minutes of the goal that every player in the team was involved in that goal. So the first thing is we retained the ball. We moved it through the thirds really nicely. Burnley didn't really get close to us, but the beauty of it was, as we mentioned earlier, it's getting that half yard of space from Kudus, that flick to get past his fullback, the pulling it back. Kudus said afterwards, it wasn't a great cross, it was just into an area, and he made it a brilliant cross, right?
Well, that's
I love
fair.
that humility about Kudus as well. But it's also him, with the presence of mind, my manager wants me to not bang this across the 6-yard box because that's what he's told us. He wants us to pull it back. And Richarlison with the presence of mind, I know that my winger should be pulling it back, not banging it across the 6-yard box. And if you think about the goals that Richarlison scored from Johnson, when Johnson went on a spray of assisting Richarlison last season, the season before, it was all like bang across 6-yard, tap in, right? This was him hanging back, and the finish was exceptional. So everything about the goal, not just about the fact that every player touched the ball, but the coaching behind it as well,
17 passes.
Is absolutely sensational.
I think that's 14 goals in 16 Premier League starts for Richarlison, which is pretty good. Again, if he's available, we might get a tune out of him. 2 assists from Kudus to Richarlison. They're only 45 behind, equaling Son and Kane's record. So, and as someone tweeted, I think Richarlison's now on for 76 assists this season. Sorry, Kudus is on for 76 assists this season. So thank you, West Ham.
I think he's 2 assists behind his whole of last season.
1. I think he got 3.
Yeah.
And listening to him,
now he scored half the amount of goals he scored last season.
Wow. So. Again, when Kudus played for West Ham, I was like, oh, he must be an idiot. He plays for them. And all I saw of him live was that fight with Richarlison and Van der Ven. He's a bright bloke. Listening to him, and clearly, very much, when we signed him, you thought, oh, is he going to be trouble? No dickheads policy from Frank. He's someone clearly who's going to take on. We've talked about the Burnley dropping in. He was told that, didn't just cross it.
Yeah,
did it right. Okay,
twice.
Listen.
Well, he's come to Ajax. I mean, he's obviously a quality
He's quality. He's just turned 25.
Yeah.
There's a couple of people at work said to me this week, actually, could be one of the signings of the summer for 55 mil.
Without a doubt.
All right, quick thoughts on City. We're going to leave it there. We are going to do an interview with Dave Mooney from the Blooming podcast. We'll put that out as a special later this week. Jake, quick thoughts on City before we go. The deck he had with no Decky.
Well, with no Decky, you've named your team. What was it again?
So my team is a back 3. I'd go down. So Romero, Van der Ven. I'd go probably Udogie won't be fit.
Porro and Spence.
Palhinha, Bentancur, and then in my head, I've just got in my head Kudus in a kind of. I'd actually have Kudus and Richarlison in that kind of floating role behind Solanke.
He's playing side. You need his legs.
Yeah, he will play. I think he probably will play.
One of those.
It won't be that.
Solanke won't play. He'll play Sarr and Kudus and Richarlison.
Yeah.
It'll be very much the PSG team.
Yeah.
In fact, it might even be the PSG
I think it
team.
probably will.
Yeah.
Because Solanke's not really ready, is he?
And I think as well, you never really want to play City, but actually get it out of the way. Go up to the attack, get it out of the way, and you never know if we come away with a draw.
Yeah.
Maybe find ourselves a couple of goals up, like we did against PSG unexpectedly, and see it through.
I wouldn't read anything really into City's performance against Wolves. They're away at Wolves. Wolves aren't very good. It's the first game of the season. Frank, to the absolute letter, will have done the research and the tactics and everything that needs to be done.
He's given.
I found you've got to fancy us to get.
He's given City a problem.
Yeah.
Before we beat them 4-0, they were like 23 unbeaten at home.
Yeah.
And the bookends were Brentford had beaten them, and then we beat them 23 games later, whatever it was.
I think that, but the other interesting thing, what I do like about this game in particular, which is going to be an anomaly for the season, is Frank's now got a week to prepare for this against the type of calibre of team that we will face in the Champions League. So this is a really instructive week for Frank and the team, and I do like that.
A bit what you're saying, the way that he set up always at Brentford, because I went to enough of his press conferences, he always said, we're going to go and we're going to try and win, whichever game it was.
Yeah. As Eternal and Glow says here, I just trust Frank. And I said when we signed him, one thing I think will happen this season, I know we've got a good record at City, but we'll go to Arsenal, we'll go to Chelsea, we'll go to Anfield, and we might get beat. We ain't getting rolled over like we do it pretty much every single time. All right, we're going to leave it there. Like I said, we are going to speak to Dave Mooney later on and put it out. A reminder for those in at the moment, you can see this Mickey van der Veen piece. You can only get it if you are a Echo of Glory member, not subscriber, which is great, but a member too, and we'll be giving that away at some point during the season. Quick prediction, actually, please, Jake, for the next weekend.
City. It's the early game, isn't it?
Yeah, come on.
2-2.
Okay, Gary?
Yeah, I'd be delighted with a draw. You'd take a draw all day long.
Yeah, no, we're going to beat them 3-1. Right. Fully in. All right, that's it. We're done. Great start to the Frank era. We will be back next week. I think, Jake, you're in this chair.
Lucky me.
With Adam and the other Jake.
You and us sunning it up, not together.
Not together.
Sadly.
You can rub oil into me anytime, guys. Don't worry.
Wow.
I'm going to press this button. It says kill stream. Hopefully that doesn't delete everything, but that's what they told me to press. We will see you next week. Look out for that interview with Dave Mooney later this week, and we'll see you soon. Up with Spurs. See, look, I pressed it and nothing happens. We're off. Jesse!
Jesse!
Talk amongst yourselves. Kill stream doesn't work.
Oh, that's good. All right, say goodbye.
Bye.
Awkward, isn't it?